What is up, guys? Fancy here. I'm here today to bring you a video about Giants B10. This video is actually going to be extending on my last video. I'm going into detail about what stats you need to be able to auto Giants B10 using not only the free-to-play team but other units that are very commonly used for Giants B10 as well. Some of this could be repetitive if you've watched my stream before. These are things I've said before on stream. But if you didn't, then I hope I can teach you something new. So for my free-to-play team, what I use is Bernard Leader because he has the only leader skill. Shannon, Bella, Darian, and Konamiya. This unit is really, these units are really good because they keep each other alive during the Giants fight, and as well as sustain each other, keeping the Giants debuffed, keeping your team buffed, taking out the Giants debuff, and making sure you don't have any debuffs on you. This team has everything you need basically for that. The only really thing that's missing on the team is a dot monster. You don't really have dots, so you're gonna have to basically slowly grind down the giant. Alright, Shannon, Bernard, and Bella, I think these units are mostly irreplaceable. Bella could be replaced by Jasoon or Ariel if you have her. I think Ariel's a girl's name. Shannon and Bernard are pretty much irreplaceable. There's no other monster in the game that kind of does their job as well as they do. So Shannon is really good because of these three skills. This one increases the defense. Attack power is nice, but it's mainly for the defense debuff. This slows the enemy down, and this makes it so the enemy has a chance for landing a glancing hit. Shannon does, however, have one very crucial flaw, which is her defensive stats are really bad. At 5 stars max level, she has only 5,000 HP and 400 defense. This is actually really low if you compare it to some other monsters like him, for example. He has 1,000 more HP and slightly higher defense, or Bernard, who has both higher defense and higher HP. Shannon is good for her skills, but she has very shitty stats, just because she is a natural 2-star. But you will still need to use her for Giants B10, which means that you will either 1, need to get really nice runes for her, some 6-star, 5-star runes, but it's unfair for me to tell you to get these runes in the beginning because you're never going to be able to clear Giants B10 in the beginning to get those runes. So the next best thing you could do is raise Shannon to 6 stars. If you raise her to 6 stars, her base stats will increase significantly, and you won't need as good runes for her to clear Giants B10. For Bernard, he has similar stats. I will actually be going through Bernard's stats first before I go through Shannon's. I think Bernard is more clear-cut. You don't really have to change him around much to suit your team. What you want on Bernard is speed. You want his speed you want him as fast as possible. You need his 3rd skill to fill the attack bar and increase the attack speed of all your units. Ideally, you want him to go before your units can even go twice. You want this skill to already go once before your other units can go twice, meaning that you will need very high speed on Bernard. Kind of unfair for me to say this because I have really bad runes on Bernard. This isn't gonna cut it. Well, if you don't have other units to carry you through the fight, this isn't gonna cut it. He's not gonna hold his own. He's not gonna be able to basically do what he needs to do. Two things on Bernard: survivability you will need survivability on every single one of your units. You can't have them die in 2 hits. If you have them die in 2 hits, they're useless. It doesn't matter how good their skills are. They can't use those skills because they're dead. You want him as fast as possible. You want him to first, of course, to be able to survive a few hits from giants. I think I had him at 7,000 HP. I recently swapped out one of his runes for a higher HP base stat, not base stat, bonus stat, and defense is it's nice to have extra defense, but I guess if you put like 1 defense rune this slot in, he should have around 100 bonus defense with this and an extra substat or something like that. You want his HP to be at least 14k. 14k HP will allow him to survive 2 hits from the crystals on during the level, and be able to survive a hit if he's armor broken and the giant attacks. After you can get him to survive, you want his speed as high as possible. I would actually sacrifice accuracy for speed if I would have to choose between substats. It's nice to have 1 set of focus rune on Bernard to at least have 20% accuracy. You want some accuracy on Bernard, but accuracy isn't that important. Not as important as speed. You want him to be fast. You want him to be using Tailwind all the time. The accuracy is just to make it so that you have a chance to land the attack power debuff on the giants. So for runes, I would like them to be built swift accuracy. Swift focus for the bonus accuracy, and you want speed on 2, HP on 4, and you could put HP on 6 if you have a 6-star rune here. He'll have enough HP if you have a 6-star rune on this slot. Then you can put accuracy on this slot. But you want survivability is number 1 for any of these units. Survivability is number 1. If they have to at least be able to survive 2 hits from the crystal towers, and 1 hit from the giant if their armor broken. So you want this rune to be the highest grade speed rune that you can find. If you have to use a broken set, then so be it. Sacrifice the focus set and use a broken set and put the highest grade speed rune on this slot. And then afterwards you want to have one set of swift set, and then HP on these 2 slots if you don't have really nice runes. If you have a 6-star HP rune, you can put HP on this slot, and then you could put accuracy on this slot. For Shannon at 5 stars, she is very squishy. Shannon actually, if you compare the ratio of her defense to HP, she has a better defensive scaling, like defense scaling, than her HP scaling. For most of your runes or at higher levels, it's going to be HP percent runes, and the substats you're trying to find are also going to be like HP percent. What you want to do on Shannon is to have a good balance of HP and defense. Since she scales better with defense, you want to rune her with high defense, but you need her to have decent HP so that defense can actually do something. It's kind of multiplicative. Defense is like damage reduction, and then the more defense you have, the more damage percentage that it'll reduce on the attack. But it doesn't increase the overall tankiness, which is the HP of your monster. So you need a good balance of HP and defense. My recommendation would be actually the way I built her. Actually, not the way I built her. It would actually be better if she had around 700 defense at 5 stars and around 13k HP. If you can do that, then she's going to be perfect, because the crystal towers in Giants B10 on the side, I call them towers, but they're just normal crystals. Basically, those crystal towers are gonna, if they attack twice, they usually attack at the same time. Your Shannon needs to be able to survive that attack, and that attack is armor ignore. So you want her to have high HP in order to be able to tank through the 2 attacks. 10k HP at the very least will be able to survive through those 2 attacks. However, if the crystal towers attack once, and your healers can't bring Shannon back to full HP, she will die on the next crystal attack. So you do need to keep that in mind. Having higher base HP also means that you're healing, which is mostly going to be provided by Belladon. If you're using other monsters like Chisun or mostly all healers are HP percent based heals, so having more HP also increases the higher healing. 13k HP I think should be very good for Shannon, and 700 defense in total. Her speed can be sacrificed because she doesn't need to be that fast. You have Bernard adding speed onto your Shannon. Any bonus speed would be nice, but it is not absolutely necessary. I would actually like to put a defensive stat, HP percent or defense percent, on this slot, and then have the other slot. If you put HP here, you put defense here, or if you put defense here, put HP here. Have one slot defense, one slot HP, and then for this slot, put accuracy. I have pretty nice runes on Shannon. They're mostly 5-star, 6-star runes, except for this one. But she is still very squishy. Sometimes she still dies. It would be best for you to 6-star Shannon. If you 6-star Shannon, you wouldn't have to worry that much about her survivability. Her accuracy needs to be, I think at the very least, I like over 75% accuracy. I have 86% on Shannon right now. My head's kind of blocking that. Resistance isn't that important. These three stats aren't that important, especially if you're bringing someone to clear buffs. Resistance can be sacrificed for everything else. It's kind of like the bottom of the list. Accuracy will need to be quite high. So for Shannon, her main focus is to get her survivability up, which is very hard to do on Shannon, and then focus on getting high accuracy. And then speed can come after that. Speed is more of a luxury for Shannon. So, moving on. Belladon. Belladon is a monster that you probably will 6-star. Most people have a 6-star Belladon. Most of the top ranked players, any player, almost everyone has Belladon. Belladon is I guess the #1 free-to-play support monster, in my opinion. Belladon's skills are all very useful. Her stats are actually quite nice as well. They're not really nice, but they're decent. What you want on Belladon is to have survivability, high accuracy, and speed. A good balance of accuracy and speed. So, #1 thing you need to do is have Belladon be able to survive, and then having a good balance of speed and accuracy after that. So the way I think Bella is better ruined, at least for Giants B10, not for PvP. This isn't the way you want to ruin Bella for PvP. This is the way you want to ruin Bella for PvE. What I do is I actually put I didn't put speed on this slot. I put HP on this slot as well as HP on this slot. If I had a 6-star HP rune on this slot, I would probably put speed on this slot. But my Bella basically needs her survivability. She needs to be able to survive longer. Bella actually has higher base defense than HP, so having a good balance of defense and HP is better rather than stacking full HP. Although HP is usually the better stat versus defense. So for Bella, you want at least I guess for most of your monsters, you want at least 13k HP, and Bella, if your Bella's at 5 stars, she'll have around 500 base HP, which is going to be plus 100 if you put like your 3-slot rune in and have a 1 HP defense. Defense percent substat. You want Bella's accuracy to be quite high though. This is very important because if your C's misses, it can increase the chance of your team wiping. Bella is basically there to remove the Giants debuff and make sure that the Giants can't apply, basically every time the Giant applies the buff onto himself, the attack buff, the one that increases his own attack damage, you want to be able to remove it time after time. This is really high. Like, you need really high accuracy. This is really important because you want to increase the survivability of your team, and that's like basically one other thing that can make you wipe. The Giants fight is about it's kind of like kind of like playing Russian roulette. It really is. But it's like the gun will only fire if certain requirements are met. You know, if the Giant has his attack buff on, you have defense break on your units, and you know Shannon didn't buff, then your units are gonna wipe. But you want to make sure that that scenario never happens in Giants. You can have one of those scenarios happen, but you don't want multiples of like different scenarios happening, like having the defense buff on your units and Shannon not buffing for defense. It can cause your units to wipe. You know, you don't want multiples of those scenarios to happen at the same time. If they happen at the same time, one of your units could die, very easily die, and you could, you know, lose the fight really easily. For Darien, it doesn't really matter. He can use any stats. He doesn't even need high accuracy to be able to land some of his debuffs on the Giants. You just want him to basically be as tanky as possible. One thing I will tell you to be very careful with Darien is if you rune him violent, sometimes he'll go multiple turns, and then he'll waste the buff from Shannon, the defense buff from Shannon, and then the Giants will auto attack. He gets armor broken, and the Giant does his attack, and then Darien can die, very easily die. You want Darien to be alive during the whole fight. You don't actually need him to do anything, so you can everything he does is kind of a bonus. You don't need him to do anything. He's actually here as a backup for basically making sure these two skills always are on the boss, the attack debuff and the armor debuff, in case your Bernard doesn't land them. He's here for that job. So what you want on Darien is actually just to put stack a bunch of HP. If you have to, you know, use 3 sets of energy runes to it, it's just the best way to rune Darien. If you can't get him 6 stars, I wouldn't recommend runing him violent, because he can get himself killed very easily and can cause your team to wipe after your team loses his passive. Kona is mainly here to remove the debuff off the Giants. Kona is water based, and but Kona at 5 stars has 7,000 HP, which is pretty much as high as Bernard, although he has much lower defense. So, but the good thing about Kona is you don't have to ruin him for accuracy. You can do violent and then have speed, HP. The reason why Kona is better ruined violent is because Kona has very low base speed. But if you can't find good violent runes for Konamiya, what you can do is just basically just rune them with swift runes. They're the next best thing. You don't need any accuracy. You don't need. It's nice to have some resistance on Kona, but it's not needed. It's not 100% needed. But you want his speed and his HP to be as high as possible. Survivability first, and then stack speed afterwards. You want Kona, you know, and at most of your units, you want at least 13k HP with around, you know, like 700 defense or 600 defense, as high as you can get it. And that is it for the normal units. I will talk about some units that are very nice for Giants B10. If you have them, it will make the Giants B10 run much easier. Number 1 is Acasis. Acasis is the number 1 monster in my opinion for Giants B10. All of her skills will help your team survive against the Giant, and even the dot skill, and which I will explain. Acasis' leader skill increases resistance of your win ally monsters by 50%. This means that the less chance of you getting stunned throughout the level, the less chance of you getting armor broken by the tower on the side of the Giant. Acasis is mainly strong for the shield. This shield can eat one of the Giant's attacks, which is really nice. It's better than healing your team back up to full, because you can have the shield on before the Giant attacks. So it's like kind of like a bonus tankiness that you add onto your units. This Twister is basically it's a mini heal, but it's very, very fast. You can use it. Basically, your cases can use it every 3 turns, which is quite nice. I'm pretty sure this could be reduced to 2 turns, so your cases can use it like every other turn. It's quite a nice heal for your units. It's one of the reasons why people ruin a case is Despair. It's because this skill can be spammed quite a lot, and throughout the level you can use it to stun the crystals, which makes you going through the level much easier. This is a dot skill. This dot skill you can put on the boss to shorten the fight. The reason why this skill helps your team survive is because it shortens the fight. Having the fight drag on longer means like either one, your units AI can do dumb things, you know, at a certain time, might not do the right things. The AI doesn't always do the right things. Less chances for your AI to screw up, less chances of, you know, how I talked about the Russian roulette, the number of scenarios that need to, like, requirements that need to be met in order for the gun to be fired. You know, you don't want those scenarios to happen. The longer the fight drags on, the higher the chance of, you know, things going wrong. So having a dot to clear the giants, to basically kill the giants really fast, makes it so that things are less likely to go wrong in a shorter fight. Also, if something does go wrong and you have a bunch of dots on the giant might die before your Acasis dies, which means you win the fight, and it doesn't matter anyways. So that's why Acasis is really, really strong for giants. For Acasis, I would ruin her Despair or Swift. Despair is ideal if you have her 6-star. Despair Energy or Despair Focus. Despair Energy is more of a general build that works everywhere. Basically gonna talk you through the general build. You don't need to build her especially for giants. I don't think so, because she's just that good for giants. Basically, if you want her to be 6-star, so her shields more damage. If you have Acasis, she should be the monster that you want to 6-star first. After your farmer, of course. And then you want her 6-star. You want her to be somewhat tanky. Just basically having one of her slots with the HP rune will make her tanky enough. You can do speed HP or speed HP accuracy, and then afterwards you can stack speed on her once she has enough survivability, which she will, because she's such a tanky monster. She's not super tanky, but she's quite tanky, especially if you get her to 6 stars. Another good monster is Delphoi. Delphoi is basically here to replace Konamiya. If you have Delphoi, you can substitute her for Konamiya. You will want the skill to be leveled up once. Lowering the cooldown of the skills makes her more reliable. Less chances of you wiping. The other 2 skills are nice, but this and her leader skill is the main reason why she is in the team. These 2 are mostly bonuses. You don't need to 6-star her for giants. She has really high defense, really high HP as well. She's tanky enough as she is, and she's going to increase the defense of herself and Shannon Bernard if you put her in your team. What you want to do for her is to put Swift Energy for giants. You don't want her to be focused, to be rune focused. You don't need her to be rune focused, especially if you keep her at 5 stars. This is the build I would build her if I was to keep her at 5 stars. I would do Swift Energy, speed, HP, and then make her really tanky and survive, you know, as well as keeping your team alive. These 2 are basically the main 4-star monsters that are really, really good for giants. A few other ones are Eledril. He's here for he has this leader skill, which is really, really nice. He also has a revive and a heal, and he can also remove the Giants buff, which makes him pretty much perfect for Giants B10. You know, possibly better than Acasis if you have Shannon tanky enough, because this scales better when your monsters are stronger. few good monsters are the Wind Monkey King for his leader skill, and this counterattack. Every time someone gets attacked, he can clear the level faster. He can take down the giants faster by himself. The Wind Chimera, which is super nice for giants. He also has a nice HP skill. He has a dot skill for the giants and a nice AoE. A lot of people think that the Orochi, Lucian, Julian, these type of monsters are good for giants, and they are, but there's a catch. You need really good runes for these monsters. Basically, if you're trying to run Orochi for Giants B10, in a team where there's Shannon, Bernard, and other units, basically you have to be able to survive the giants without Orochi. Basically Orochi's taking one of your spots, so you're most likely going to be removing Darien off your team if you're running Orochi. Your Shannon needs to be tanky enough to survive without Darien's passive. A general rule that I like to follow is if you want to take out one of your units for Giants B10 and put in a DPS unit, your other 4 units need to be able to 4-man Giants B10. If they can't 4-man Giants B10, you can't put this DPS unit in. He's not going to be reliable, because he will make the Giants fight much faster, but it's not going to go well in your favor. You're not going to win the fight, because he's gonna get your Shannon, your Bernard killed if they're not tanky enough. If they're tanky enough, then you can remove your other monster, your other support monster like Darien or something, and put in Orochi. It could work very well. Another method of using Orochi is if you have a bunch of nukers. If you have Orochi, 6-star, full 6-star runes. If you have you can run double Lucian, all 6-star runes and stuff, and then basically just nuke through the level without any heals. That works as well. But if you can't do that, then you basically have to run with a tankier team, and you really can't put in Orochi in your Giants B10 team. Another honorable mention is also the Water Archangel, Ariel. Where is he? Can't find Ariel. Alright, Ariel is also very good for Giants B10. Mainly because she has 2 heals, keeping your team alive, as well as this skill. All the Archangels are quite nice for Giants B10 because of this skill. This skill is your Angel's auto attack, and it already has a chance to remove the enemy's beneficial effect. So you can use Ariel to remove the Giants attack buff, as well as keeping your team alive. Ariel is, I guess, for Giants B10 a better replacement than Bella. Yeah. If you have her, you probably wouldn't be using Bella. So I guess this is it. Kind of a longer video, but I went into detail about most of the monsters that you will see in Giants B10. Some of the monsters you can use for Giants B10, and some of the stats you need for some of your monsters. Giant B10 is not a walk in the park. It is hard. You need to be able to survive the fight. You want to, your survivability is number 1. And then whatever, faster runs or whatever can come after that. You got to be able to survive the fight first. The free-to-play team that I recommended, for me right now, since Shannon isn't 6-star yet, is not 100% clear. I'm hoping that it will when I get her to 6 stars. I'm not 100% sure yet, so there's that too. But what you really want to do is be able to survive the Giants fight long enough so that he can never take you down, and then you slowly grind him down. That's the safest way to do Giants B10. If you want to run nuke teams, you need really nice runes on your units, and if you don't have really nice runes, that's why you're grinding Giants B10, So yeah, if you have a Casus, Delphoi, the Wind Chimera, any of those units that I mentioned before, you're really lucky because they make the Giants fight much easier. If you don't, you're stuck with this team, and you will need really nice stats on Giants. Basically, that is it. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. I will try my best to answer them. And yeah, thanks for watching. Happy summoning and peace.